So welcome back, everybody. Today we are doing something on the channel that I have never actually done before. I had a company ship me an interesting and very useful piece of equipment to review, and that's what we're going to do. So if you remember a few weeks ago, I posted a video talking about the jet air filtration unit. Now a couple of days after that, I got an email from a gentleman at Laguna Tools, and I was actually not familiar with Laguna Tools, so I checked them out, and they seem to make pretty high quality stuff. But he said, hey, I saw your video. Would you be interested in reviewing our version of the same product? So, of course, I said yes. It's not something that I usually do because I don't usually get offers that are that useful. This time, it was an extremely useful piece of equipment, and there were no strings attached. He didn't offer to give me any kickbacks on the sales of products. He didn't offer to pay me for a good review. He just said, hey, would you like to review our product? So, since there's no strings attached, even if there were strings attached, I'd give you an honest review. But since there's no strings attached, we're going to get into this thing and give it a good honest review and see how it stacks up. But first, let's check out how this thing came packaged. So I wanted to show y'all how this thing came packaged. I was really impressed at the way that it came packaged. You can see it came on a pallet, it came freight on an 18-wheeler, and it's really packaged well. It's got this little thing on the top to make sure people don't stack stuff on top of it in the truck, and it's on a pallet, and it's got reinforced cardboard, and it's shrink wrapped, and they really did a good job as far as packaging on this thing, because these things are fairly delicate. You know, it's just a big box with a fairly delicate blower motor inside, and there's a lot of room for for damage and shipping. It's yet to be seen exactly what it looks like on the inside, but you know, the outside, it looks like they've really figured out how to ship these things. So like I said, it does feel pretty well padded on the inside, so I think that they have gone to some great lengths to keep this thing intact. We'll check that out in a minute. Probably not opening this thing quite the way they want me to, but it'll work. So we've got some batteries and some little bumper pads and some mounting hardware that seem pretty heavy duty. What else do we have? I bet that's the remote. Nope, that's the plug. Let's see what the inside of it looks like. Of course, there's your external filter right there. Gets your coarse particles out of the air, and here's your internal filter. And it's, I guess this is a pretty standard design. This has got a lot of surface area. This has got a ton of surface area on it to, it gives more airflow, and that filters out the very small particulates that are in the air. And yeah, so if you can see this, let me get y'all in so y'all can see this. I feel like y'all probably can't see that, but I'll read it out to you. We see the model number is 810650, output 1/5 of a horsepower, runs off 110 volts, 4.9 amps, phase 1 power, just our standard electrical outlet. Let's see what else is pertinent. 1,150 RPM, date of manufacture is sometime in 2018. And the serial number, not that really matters, and it's made in Taiwan. So let's check out a better set of specs here. This is straight from Laguna's website. I'm sorry if there's any glare on this. I did my best to try to avoid that. So here it is right here. I'm not going to read all of this. Y'all can pause if necessary if y'all want to check this part out. The price is $389 retail. It's only available through dealers. You can't order it through the website that I can tell. Although there's a cart there, so I may be wrong about that. But I do think you have to find a dealer. Here's our specs. Our motor, it says it's 1 1/5 horsepower here. That's not correct. It's actually just 1/5 of a horsepower, which is of course sufficient for what it is. 120 volt, single phase, so standard 110 wall outlet. Your cubic feet per minute of air that it'll cycle, 540 at the lowest setting, 730, and then 1200 at the highest setting. Your filter, the machine will filter a room out, a 20 by 20 by 8 foot room, 10 times an hour at the lowest setting and 22 times per hour at the highest setting. The outer filter that we just checked out will filter things down, filter 5 micron size particles out of the air, whereas the inner filter will do 1 micron, which is quite small. Washable, the outer filter is washable, which is a really big deal. My other machine, my jet machine, I discovered that I can just stick just a standard air conditioner filter on it, and you know, to replace the outer filter. You're probably much better off getting the factory one, but if you're if you're in a tight, you can certainly use an AC filter, 12 by 24 by 1. The timer settings, you've got 1/2 of an hour. It'll filter the room for 1/2 of an hour on the lowest timer setting, up to 4 hours on the highest. It draws 4.9 amps. It's 28 inches long, 24 inches wide, and 1 foot high. It weighs 60 pounds. Let's see, 3-year warranty. That's a pretty impressive warranty. On the highest speed, you're going to put out almost 60 decibels. The medium speed, you're looking at 56 decibels, and the lowest setting, you're looking at 55.6 decibels. And that's pretty much it. That's all that's really pertinent. Let's look at, let's check it out a little bit closer. Here's the back of the unit here. It's pretty standard. You've got your indicators here for the amount of time that you're filtering your room. You've got your speed indicator, low, medium, and high, plus your power. You've got your fuse. You've got on and off switch and your timer. This also has a remote control to it. And there's your sensor for your remote right there. And I mean, it's pretty standard. Now here's a feature that I'm really excited to show y'all. This is a clogged filter indicator. This is probably the coolest feature of this thing so far. Now how this works is, of course, you've got airflow that comes through the back of this unit right here and goes out the front. As the filter gets more and more clogged with dust, your airflow gets lower and lower. There's a little paddle right here that that controls this gauge right here. So when you're wide open and your filters are clean, this is going to be way down here in the green, and when you're clogged up, it's going to get lower and lower and lower and lower, and you're going to know when you need to change out your filter or wash your filter out. So that's a really interesting feature right there. I think that was a pretty good addition. So we're at the back of the unit again. There's your actuator that controls that gauge, that dial over there, that little needle that tells you the condition of your air filter. So here's the real test. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on and see if our squirrel cage runs true. So this is the first startup of this, and here we go. Let's just see what happens here. That's low. Let's go up to medium. And high. And then turn it back off. So I'm not sure what I was thinking. The air actually comes out of the back side of this machine. I wasn't quite thinking there. So we can see that it's not absolutely perfect, but man, it is some kind of close. I wouldn't, certainly would not call that a deal breaker in the least. That thing is running pretty good. So I brought it back up to high speed, and there is a little vibration that does show up at the highest setting. I'm not sure if this is just I don't know if it's just very difficult to get these squirrel cage fans true, or what the story is, but if you remember on the jet unit that we reviewed not long ago, that was, I had to take it all to pieces and straighten that thing out. But I wouldn't call that a deal breaker. I really don't think that's I don't know how much that will hurt the longevity of the machine. I really don't know, but that's how it is. Use your own judgment on that. I'm just kind of presenting it for what it is. So let's cut to the chase here. Oh, I want to show you the gauge on the side first. So let's cut to the chase and set up a test for this thing and see what kind of job it will do. So guys, here's what I have kind of worked out here. The channel has not all of a sudden been sponsored by Tyvek. What I've done here is I've cordoned off an area of the shop that's 20 by 20. The instructions, or the specifications rather, said that this product can clear out a 20 by 20 by 8 foot shop. The ceilings are a little higher than 8 feet, but it'll be okay. So this machine is not going to be mounted in this shop permanently, so I've got it strapped to the top of this ladder, and I think that gives a pretty good a mock-up of where one of these things would be hanging in somebody's small shop anyway. So I think that's in a pretty good spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the machine off for now, and we're going to go over there where the table saw is. I think that y'all can see it. There it is right there. We're going to go to the table saw and we're going to sand on that piece of white oak for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And then we're going to wait 30 minutes, wait for the dust to settle. And I've got a surface over here in my camera box, and we're going to see how much dust shows up on that camera box. After all that's said and done, we're going to wipe off the camera box, turn the machine on to medium, do the same thing over again, and see how much dust shows up on the camera box. So we're just going to generate a ton of dust in here, and then we are going to see how well this thing can clear it out. So guys, we did it for 5 minutes and 2 seconds, not including those few seconds where I didn't have the timer going. Here's our box, and we're going to leave it for about 30 minutes or so and let all this dust settle, and I can vouch that there's a good cloud of very, very fine dust in here. I also wiped down the corner of this toolbox here. If you remember on the last video, this is the surface that we used to test the dust collection on the other unit. And we'll use this also to compare our dust drop. Alright guys, so I got back out here after about 40 minutes, I guess it was, and I discovered that that was just not enough dust on those surfaces. So we're gonna do better. We're gonna see if we can kick up a little bit more dust. These are 50 grit belts right here. I was using 120. These are 50 grit belts. This one is used, but it's still, it's still in very, very, very good shape. So this is going to kick up a lot more dust. We're going to try this 50 grit belt for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to look at our surfaces again. So we just now finished the sanding, and I can tell that is doing a much, much better job than what we had. And you see all of that? Yeah, okay, good. That's a lot better representation of dust in a workshop right there. So we're gonna wait half of an hour and come back and see how much dust is settled, and then we'll do the second part of the test. All right guys, so it's only been about 22 minutes or so, but I think this is plenty good. So here we go. This is the surface of my toolbox, and you can see all the dust that has fallen on this right here. The camera box, you couldn't see it on that black surface, but you can see it here real well. So you can see how much junk we've got on here. And this surface right here is about 15 to 20 feet away from our belt sander. So we're going to go ahead and wipe this off with a dry rag and turn our machine on and do the second part of our test. So I know it doesn't look like it, but this thing actually got a lot of junk out of the air. What we're left with here is larger particulates. You sand something and then you wait and you've got this big dust cloud. The dust cloud and the sawdust smell clears out a lot quicker with this machine, even though we have quite a few heavy particles that have settled. So we're basically having the same same experience as we had on the other unit that we reviewed a few weeks ago. You know, we have larger particulates that did not get filtered out by the unit, and of course the reason for that is this is really made to be used in conjunction with a dust collection system that'll get the larger particulates out. And you know, this is not for huge particulates, but you can see what we're left with here is the larger stuff that the machine just didn't quite get. But all in all, it filtered a lot of junk out of the air. So guys, I just can't leave well enough alone here. This is the area that we just tested, was this right over here, and it is somewhat in line with the air that's coming out of that machine, that's coming out of the back of that machine. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that, you know, we're not getting any, you know, the wind is not whipping that dust around and making it to where it won't settle right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off this entire toolbox right now. We're going to test, we're going to check it, we're going to do it all again, and we're going to see how much we get on this side where the wind should be a little bit less. I may even turn that machine somewhat so that it's not blowing in this direction quite as bad. Also, I'm going to put it on high this time and see what difference that makes. All right guys, so it has been about 26, 27 minutes, something like that. The machine was on high for all of this time, and here's our surface. You can see about the same as when it was on medium, but still, you know, it's still got quite a bit of that junk out of the air. A lot of this stuff is heavier particulates that, you know, don't really get up to that unit anyway. To get sucked out of the air, that would be the job for like a dust collection system. Let's look at the other side of the cabinet. This is the side of the toolbox closest to the machine. One more time. I can keep it focused. There we go. I think y'all get the picture. So guys, that's going to do it for the review of the Laguna Supermax shop dust air filtration unit. We've got it up here in my dad's shop mounted and ready to go. I'll turn it on and let y'all hear the noise on it. I've got my lapel mic on, so I'll kind of get close to it so y'all can kind of get an idea of how loud it is. That's the lowest setting. That's medium. And that's high. I mentioned earlier in the video my concern about that the wobble on the squirrel cage fan. Now that I look at it, it does create just a little bit of vibration, but I really think it's well within the tolerances, the grace period, I guess you could say, of what is acceptable. It's running pretty true. If you remember on the jet unit that we reviewed, it was severely off and we ended up fixing it. This one I certainly would not take it apart in an attempt to fix it because I don't think it's going to contribute to any issues whatsoever. Now that it's mounted and going, I really think it's okay, but I'll let y'all be the judge. I'm just kind of presenting this for what it is. I think Laguna did a good job on this unit. It's made out of materials that are totally sufficient for the job. It was packaged extremely well. You know, these things are pretty delicate on the inside, so there's some challenges that come with packaging and shipping, and it was packaged extremely well. It was very impressive the way that they had that thing packaged on the pallet with all the warnings on it and styrofoam. Good job on that. Also, I really like the clogged filter indicator. You know, it's one of those things that you hang in your shop and you don't always want to have to get up there and check it to see if it's clogged up. You can just kind of glance up there with this one and see the gauge on the side, and you'll be good. The remote works really well. I did not test the timer on it. It has a timer system that you can set it to scrub your shop air from a half hour to 4 hours. I'm sure it works fine, though I didn't test it. To really get the best bang for your buck out of one of these things, you really need to use it in conjunction with a dust collector at your tools. Either a you know, a shop vac at your tool or just a general shop dust collection system, it doesn't get the heavy particulates out of the air because they don't ever get up to the unit to get sucked out of the air. This is really for the finer particulates that are in the air. This unit costs $389. There are lots of other units available. You can certainly make your own with a box fan and some plywood, but I would encourage you to do something in your shop as far as dust collection goes. Mine in my shop, I have really learned to love it because I can breathe so much easier in there. It keeps everything so much cleaner, and it has really improved my quality of life when I'm in the shop, and it has certainly improved the cleanliness of my shop. So whatever you do, I would certainly encourage you, you know, to figure out some kind of a air scrubber system for your shop, whether it's this unit or another one. This is a great option though. Laguna Tools did a pretty good job on this machine, and I want to thank them for sending me this unit to review for free. And on behalf of my dad, who's going to have a much better time breathing in his shop because of it, I want to tell them thank you for that also. And that's all I've got. I want to thank y'all for watching this video, and I will see y'all next time.